I'll take more of this retirement crisis, please. The hits just keep on coming for your old buddy Josh, dispelling all the warmongers out there. It's a war because it's a war of attrition. They want you to work and then they want you to die. I want you to retire so you can enjoy what God has given to you. Let's look at what the good book says here on my homepage. I've dated this in 8 years now, and I probably should, but the good book, what does the good book say? Right here. I know that there's nothing better for men than to rejoice and do good while they live. Rejoice and do good while they live. Do you think God wants you to go around worried and angry and putting on 90 pounds, actually, like Darlene we talked about earlier today, who's lost 90 pounds? No. Have you ever read the book of Ecclesiastes that Solomon talks about? Look, and we can challenge Solomon in terms of like, he's kind of whiny, but dude, he wants you to party like it's 1999. Not to be a freaking spendthrift, not to light cigars at $100 bills, but to enjoy the freaking blessings that you have that God has granted to you. Oh my goodness. And you can't do that if you're always worried sick about stuff. You just can't, man. In fact, I was just reading this article. I don't think I did a video on this. I don't think I posted on all my various socials. And they said what people want in life, by far and away, the things people want more than anything is the health of their children, first and foremost. Which is why us who are on the anti-jab side are winning, because we said, dude, you're going to force that on my kids? No. So we know that. And number two is financial security, because financial security gives you freedom from worry. I'm just telling you, man. But the bad guys out here, the warmongers who want to tell you to be fearful, they don't want that, dude. They want to force your kids to take a million different jabbies. But they also want you fearful so you can keep working, keep paying taxes, and hopefully die too soon before you took much of Social Security. All right. So while Pablo's talking to me here, hey, buddy. All right, we're going to read this from the BLS, the Bureau of Labor Statistics. And I love the BLS. Oh, you love the government. Yeah, I love the BLS, dude. The BLS crushes. Maybe Trump should nominate me to be head of the BLS. That'd be awesome. I'd be like, dude, we're coming here and crush. Golden years, Americans at work and play. Let's take a look here. Older people make up a growing share of the American population, and their contributions to the country are numerous. All right, let's just go down here. All right, right here. We're going to come down here. Oh, my goodness. Labor force participation of people aged 65 and older, annual averages 1948 to 2024. In 1948, 47% of all men aged 65 or older were still in the labor force. The golden years of retirement, supposedly, from 1948 to basically 1970. And yet, look at that, 47%. Look at them nuts. 10% of women were still in the labor force. But still, you can see right there, men. Half of men over the age of 65 were still in the labor force. But we all had pensions. Obviously, they did not. It's just, come on. Now, it dropped all the way down to about right there, 1992, when Slick Willie was in charge. About 15.6% of all men over the age of 65 were in the labor force. Now it's crept back up to about 23.4% or so. Yeah, that's roughly a 50% increase. But still, less than 1 in 4 men over the age of 65 are in the labor force. That means 3/4 of all men over 65 are not in the labor force. And that we're going to talk about what that means here in just a second. Women, on the other hand, down here, in 1993, 8.1% of women over the age of 65 in the labor force has more than doubled to 16. Well, yeah, right there, completely doubled since to 2024. All right, so 16.2% of women over 65 in the labor force, 23.5%, 4% of men, and so that total amount of people, about 1 in 5 people over the age of 65 are in the labor force. Everybody with me on that so far? The interesting, what the BLS does, they break it down to part-time and full-time. So let's take a look. Oh, interesting. Of the people in the labor force, right there, all right, 61% are in full-time and 38% in part-time. So what we do with that, we say, okay, of the people in the labor force, we take our, if we can get Pablo to, you didn't have to jump off. Oh, sorry, buddy. All right. We're going to take our trusty whiteboard here. So we got I forgot what I said here. Oops. We got, let's see, 0.61%. Stop working. Hold on a second. Of the people that are in the labor force, 61% are full-time, 39% are part. All right. Again, of the people in the labor force, so full, Now we say how many people are actually in the labor force. Oh, it's 0.2%. He's over there scratching. I don't know if I'm doing this right, but of that population, 20% are in the labor force. Of that 20% in the labor force, 61% of that 20% are in full-time work, which is 12.2% of the entire population over the age of 65 years old are in the labor, on the full-time working. 12%. Was that 1 in 9 or something like that? So 1 in 9 people, Americans over the age of 65, are full-time working. All right. Then 1 in 12 are in part-time work. The numbers are the numbers, man. Because again, 20% of the people are in the labor force. Of that 20%, 39% are in part-time work, and again, 61% are full-time. So we got 7.8% of the American people over the age of 65 are in part-time work. 12.2% are Americans over the age of 65 in full-time work. I can't remember if I said that part-time or full-time. That's part-time, that's full-time. 1 in 5 Americans are working. Of that 1 in 5 Americans, 61% are in part-time work, or full-time work, which means 12% of the population over the age of 65 is in full-time work. That's not a freaking crisis. I'm sorry. It's just not. We're always going to have a 10 to 20, basically 15% of the population that's in a world of hurt. And those people may be working because they want to freaking get out and party. They might work because they got a hot chick they're trying to hit on at the bar that they're freaking waiting tables on. I don't know. But they might work because they need the money. It could be that too. But if this is a retirement crisis, where only 12.2% of the sample, not the sample, of the population size is working full time, we need more retirement crisis. Oh, by the way, I'm worth $100 trillion. $100 trillion. Look at that. Reserve Bank of Zimbabwe, Rhodesia. Remember when Rhodesia was legendary? They crushed until the scumbag Mugabe took over, started killing all the white farmers. Sad what happens to those countries. Sad what happens. But anyway, so I'm $100 trillion. So you should listen to me because I'm worth $100 trillion. All right. God bless. Love to hear your thoughts. We'll see you.